everybody, it's Katarina Berger, relationship coach, Reiki master, and the Gourmet Goddess. I'm doing a big feast tonight. Tonight is all about roasting everything. So we're gonna roast a prime rib. I'm having my friends Terry and Annette coming over tonight for dinner. And then we're going to roast some vegetables. So I've got some fennel here, carrots, parsnips, and some potatoes. We're also at the end going to roast some asparagus. And then I'm gonna make spiced roasted pears with ice cream. So I'm ready to start if you are, so here we go. So I went to the Ocean Park Meats place in Ocean Park, and I'm telling you, those guys really know what they're doing. They get organic beef and they age it for over 40 days. And so I picked up a prime rib. I don't eat beef very often, but every now and then you gotta have a little fun. So what we're gonna do with this is we're going to take the fat cap off. If there's not a lot of fat on it, you actually want to get the fat cap because you can take it off later and it just adds flavor. You don't need to keep the fat cap on afterwards. What we're going to do first is to rub it with a little bit of olive oil. Doesn't matter what kind, as I said before. And I'm just using some olive oil that I like to use. And then what I'm going to do is to add a little bit of sea salt over the top and on the sides. And then near the end is when we're actually going to sprinkle some crushed garlic on it, okay? But not just yet. We're going to do that near the end. Okay, and then we're going to put the fat cap over the top. Just a little tiny bit more salt. I know it looks like a lot, but this is sea salt, and it does kind of go away as it's cooking. Okay, so that gets put into a 425-degree oven for 15 minutes. And this one is probably about 3 kilos, so it's going to be in there for about an hour and 45 to 2 hours, okay? But you start at 425 for 15 minutes, that just seals in the moisture. And then you turn it right down to 350 after that for whatever's remaining, okay? Great. So now the next thing is the roasted vegetables. And like I said, we've got some really nice ones here. Again, we're just going to put a little bit of olive oil over top, and I'm just going to mush them all together. Oops, that wasn't supposed to be in there. And the fennel's going to turn out beautiful. Everything's going to be caramelized by the end of this. So you just want to do that to it. That's all you really need on here. Some people add a whole bunch of different flavors to it, but I kind of like it this way because you get the natural flavor of the vegetable after it's cooked like this, and it really is delicious. They caramelize and they just become really, really flavorful. So that goes into the 350 oven when it's ready. I'm just putting it in at 425 right now for ease of videoing. And then the next thing that we need to work on is the pears, okay? So I've got some pears here, 3 pears, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna melt 2 tablespoons of butter in about 2/3 of a cup of water. And I'm going to let that all dissolve. And then I have some spices here. So I've got some star anise, and I have a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, an 1/8 of a teaspoon of cardamom, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. And I also have this, the anise in here. So I'm just gonna put that into the water and butter mixture and just kind of move that around. Okay, just let that melt. Oh, it smells good. And we're going to use some brown sugar today, so 1/2 cup of brown sugar goes into this as well. We'll just let that heat up for a minute. It's pretty much almost melted. So I'm going to add the brown sugar and let that cook for a few moments. I wish you could smell this. So the asparagus are going to go in at the very end with the root vegetables, and then they will just cook for about 10 minutes or so, and that will be plenty for them. They'll be nice and green, they won't be grayed out because it won't be overcooked, and they'll have a little bit of a crunch to them too. So once this is all melted here, I'm going to pour it over top of the pears. This is so easy, isn't it, you guys? I'm going to pour it over top of the pears, put that in the oven, and then at the end of it, I'm going to pour a little tiny bit of a lemon over top, And then we're gonna serve it with either Bailey's ice cream or French vanilla ice cream. Okay, so this has come to a beautiful boil. This is the mixture for the pears. And I'm just gonna turn off the heat and pour it over top of the pears. Nice sizzle. And then it's going into the oven for about 20 minutes at 350. And it is going to be absolutely delicious. So while we're waiting for everything to get cooked, I thought I'd go over the relationship tip for this week. I had a question around, you know, people who are together for a really long time and how to get your partner to actually go and do things with you. And even when you're together for a really short time, I've had questions around this too with people who are just starting out together. You don't need to do everything together. You do not need to be joined at the hip. What you need to be able to do is to be independent on your own and come together at the end of the day and just be able to say, hey, hon, this is what I did today. Or, you know, I was so excited about what happened here today. Do you want to hear about it? That kind of thing. And on certain occasions do things together. But it's not about being joined at the hip. It's about being independent and interdependent, not codependent. So that's my tip for this week. I'll be right back with some more food. Okay, so we're about 20 minutes away from dinner, and so I'm just going to do the asparagus up now. Just toss them around a little bit in some lemon olive oil as usual. And those go on the tray as well with the vegetables, which are roasting really well. They'll be perfect in about 20 minutes. And then back into the oven they go. Okay, so we've pulled the vegetables out of the oven. The asparagus are perfectly roasted. They're a nice bright green. And the rest of the vegetables are looking nice and caramelized and browned. They're going to be awesome. I'm not going to add anything to them just because I believe that natural is really good in this case. All right, so I've also taken out the roast beef. And I'm just going to remove that from the pan. That looks pretty awesome. And then we're going to cut the strings. I took off the fat cap a little while ago because I didn't want to have that in there for too much longer. And that. And then this one. Oops. It's pretty warm. And then I'm going to add some garlic to it. Oops. And that'll be good. Grab some garlic in our wonderful garlic press. Just put that on the top. And just kind of spread it around a little bit just so that you have just a flavor of garlic. It doesn't need to be much. Just a little bit is great. Okay, so this meat comes from Ocean Park Fine Meats. And I want to thank Al and Shaun for amazing meat. They are just so careful with their meat. In fact, when I got the meat home yesterday, the package, you know, they put it in the butcher package and all that, in the butcher paper. The package actually told me how long to cook it for and what temperature to cook it at. I just thought that was pretty awesome. So here we have it. There's the roast beef. It looks beautiful. So I'm just going to cut the ribs off the bone, or I mean the ribs off the meat. And that'll just make it easier to slice the beef. And you can save those ribs or eat them or serve them tonight, whatever you like. Some people use horseradish with their beef, others do not. It's up to you entirely. I'm just going to cut a little piece off of here so that you can see how gorgeous this beef actually is. Well, look at that. It's absolutely perfect. So I'll put that on the plate. And I'm going to put some of the vegetables on. Some beautiful asparagus with some lemon olive oil on there. And a few potatoes and a few pieces of fennel, carrots, and parsnips. And that's dinner at my house tonight. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to have you here.
Another wonderful meal by the Gourmet Goddess.
I wish you guys were all here to have some of this. It's just beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at that. Tender as can be. Isn't that great? Very nice. so I've taken the pears out. They look delicious, they smell delicious. So I'm gonna give 2 for each person. And a little bit of the juice because it's gorgeous. Look at that, eh? It smells beautiful, it smells like somebody's visiting back here. And then just a little bit of ice cream. I have vanilla and I have Bailey's. Oh, let's use this here, it's easier. Vanilla and Bailey's ice cream. And that is that for today. Oops. Okay, beautiful. There you go. Have an awesome week, and I will talk to you next week.